All right, everybody. Good morning. Happy Monday to everybody on this fantastic April 12th, 2021 morning. Let's see, things are looking good across the board. All right, so my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. It is April 12th, 2021. Let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start off today just with an overview of where we are. Given that it's Monday, I like to start on the weekly charts. As we can see, the market has been elevated for a period of a couple of weeks as we've broken through all-time highs, and we've had subsequent trend days to the upside with very little in the way of a pullback. We've had some intraday consolidation. We've had some pushes away from value, and that has led to continual higher and higher prices on the SPY, making higher and higher lows, and ultimately just the prices getting away from all of our normal dynamic supports, things like moving averages, and we're also starting to get a little bit extended to the upside when you look at anything that determines sort of a standard deviation of value. And nothing can make that more clear than the weekly, where we see not only has the weekly been very strong for pretty much ever since the election. We've technically never had a pullback to test the 20 moving average, with a period in early March being the closest that we ever got. But not only have we stayed elevated, but we're also pushing even further away. So it just goes to show the overall strength of this market, and the fact that we are a bit extended. Some simple ways to see aspects of extension, and one that I think is fairly familiar to most people who follow any sort of technical analysis, or just even things like Brian Pesham's swing trading videos and alerts, or things like the RSI. And when we look at the RSI on the weekly, we're heading into that point of over bought, where we're exceeding, which typically would be your 70 price level, or a 70 rating. And when you get into this phase, it doesn't necessarily mean that we are expecting a pullback anytime soon, especially from the weekly perspective. It just shows exactly what sort of scenario we're in, and the ability for the market, if it were to pull back, how far down could it go? Now, obviously, on the weekly, we're looking at very large time frames. We're looking at aspects of multiple months. If we were to see a change in direction, that would be some sort of larger pullback, or just a multi-month consolidation in this market. But it goes to show that in this period, we are elevated, we are extended, and it is worthy to exercise a bit of caution, whether it be reducing risk, reducing position size, or ultimately not putting on certain types of trades or even investments if you're into structuring your portfolio that way. It's worth not to do certain actions in environments such as these. So always something to keep in mind as we dig into our shorter time frames every single morning. You always want to take that higher time frame perspective and allow yourself to build a thesis that uses those multiple time frames to see if everything is actually confirming your bias, whatever it happens to be. So as we dig into our daily, I'm going to just bring us back to the 20/5200. Actually, let me see what the RSI looks like on the daily. We can see that we're also starting to exceed the 70 point in the daily. This is one of the first occurrences of actually breaking through the RSI 70 point on the daily in quite some time. And if you recall last week, I brought up this idea that when markets move away from value, not only can it be a fairly quick and accelerated move, but the market can tend to overshoot itself. It goes farther than it should at that period of time. People start to chase, buy in, shorts have to cover, and at some point there will be an eventual capitulation to the upside, at which point you have to basically come back to value and find some sort of basis for the next part of your move. Now, we've seen this in the past in the SPY, and last week we brought up the idea that when the market does this, the expected result after it is finished breaking through all these levels is a sharp pullback. And that is simply because in the past year, and even over a couple of examples in, let's say, the past 3 years, when we get certain readings like this, the eventual result is that sharp pullback. And we have some examples here just on the 1-year chart where you saw the market really start to extend. We broke through the 70 level on the RSI, and we found this relative high, which led to technically about a 2 to 3 week pullback. It obviously found some support. We built a retracement sort of structure, and then we broke out to go higher. Same idea here. We started to breach our 70 RSI level. We extended for multiple days past that. So even higher prices, even though we had moved higher for a period of about 2 weeks, we had another week and a half of upside in this market. And then obviously a very sharp correction, breaking through things like the 20 and 50 moving average. And the RSI, of course, coming back down to what most people would consider a normal reading on the RSI, sort of a neutral reading between 70 and 30, typically situated somewhere near 50. So as we look into our analysis, when you start to see these parabolic moves, yes, it is challenging to find the top. And ultimately, it is hard to even get long because you know the downside risk. But keep in mind that these things are temporary. You can adjust how you trade and how you add risk into the market based on the situation that you're in. And conceptually, if you're expecting that sharp pullback in the SPY, if that's part of your thesis, you would expect assets that track the SPY to also have a similar pullback. So if you're, of course, looking to get long in certain areas, you may be patient and waiting for that sharp pullback. If you're willing to get short, you might be starting to look for weaker assets that will give you potentially a deeper pullback than the SPY whenever it does happen. So some things to keep in mind. I'm going to go ahead and leave the RSI on just to show that level of extension. You'll start to see as we dig into other areas, some of these readings are occurring in those areas as well. So with SPY opening higher today, we are extended. We're well above the 20 and 50. No surprise there. We have some dynamic resistance levels that I've drawn. We're basically in an area where we would expect a normal market to have some sort of pullback. But as we get further and further away from value, the level of extension may continue and it may be higher than we expect. Looking at our 4-hour chart, we can see the 20 moving average is acting as a sort of dynamic support level where the market is willing to sort of buy some dips into these areas. We are trending higher and we're hitting, once again, sort of a very rough dynamic resistance zone that I've used from previous price action. Once again, we see elevated RSI readings on the 4-hour. Of course, this doesn't necessarily mean that you have to pull back. It just means we are overbought. And in those conditions, you want to exercise a certain amount of caution with the idea that a pullback couldn't be sharper than normal. And obviously, the lower the time frame, the more frequent certain readings will occur, both to the overbought and oversold side, some of which can be false readings when it comes to directionality. So we'll use that very simple basis to just understand that higher time frames are overbought, and yet lower time frames are also showing levels of overbought. If we get a big correlation of multiple time frames all being overbought, that can lead to conceptually the idea that you're looking for a pullback because everything is lining up in the same direction. Sort of an alternate thesis to the downside after multiple days to the upside. If we load our study set, let's look at just volume profile. I've taken off RSI on this time frame. It is a bit short of a time frame, and we know that all of our higher time frames are extended. So looking at the past 30 days, we note that value is still sitting at 390 in this market. I'm gonna just continue to bring that up because it is a very important number for the SPY based on the volume profile. As we've moved away from 390, we've had periods of consolidation, and those consolidation periods have left shelves of value. We always want to mark off or at least remember these shelves of value, as if we were to pull back, this would be the first target that a bull may wish to buy the dip and use that as a support zone in order to facilitate higher prices. So obviously, pullbacks to roughly 406 would lead us into this shelf of consolidation that we had last week. If we were to pull back harder, we would be very cautious to buy certain areas because we do have a pocket of missing value, and that was facilitated by a pretty strong uptrend that we got when we broke through the value, the volume profile high, the VA high. So overall, thesis remains the same. We're all looking at these price levels as extended, and we are aware of pullback potential and sort of first target and the risk of a loss of this consolidation zone. This gives us a lot to play with in the week to come. Looking at our Qs, I bring up the 20-5200. I'm also going to bring up the RSI. That did not work. Apply. Okay. And we'll bring it back to our weekly perspective to get a sense of where we are. We can see that in this market, we're actually getting a bit of weekly divergence in the RSI, where price has made higher highs. We've gotten higher price levels in the QQQ, but the RSI has been slowly going down on some of those price level highs. So you get a big push, you have a high RSI reading, you have another push, a lower than the past RSI reading, but still elevated. And then now we're getting our curled push into this, potentially lower RSI reading if we were to pull back. So overall, the Qs are actually not indicating overbought based on this one indicator, but we are seeing divergence. And this is on the weekly perspective, a perspective that is something that needs to typically be respected from a technical perspective. Higher prices, but lower RSI readings, a divergence. Whereas if we were making higher highs and the RSI was showing more and more overbought levels, that would be more of a convergence on this particular indicator. And we'll talk more about that in the days to come and how to use that in our analysis. Let's see, as we get into our daily, we look at our RSI and we see there's also a bit of divergence here on the daily. We're seeing a very slight ramp down in our RSI readings as we've made certain price levels at higher highs. This ultimately means that we would need to see some sort of alternate thesis sort of play to really break through this divergence. But at this time, the bulls making higher highs in this market are not necessarily getting as overbought as they were in the past, and that may mean a lack of conviction from the bulls. They may be getting tired in higher time frame perspective and in need of deeper pullbacks to find value and aka find support. From our daily perspective, we're keeping in mind that we are coming into this daily trend line. This has been a trend line since the COVID lows, for those unfamiliar. And we want to remain in perspective that once we get to this typically acts as a level of resistance. So for bulls to break through this, back tested, and continue the uptrend would be a very strong signal to the upside. It would also break us through all-time highs. But at this time, this should be some amount of resistance. And we'll see how they facilitate that resistance. Will they inflect away, or will they consolidate into a breakout? Those are questions that we have not gotten an answer to at this time. We noted last week, specifically in pre-market, that the Qs had run right into this level. They had pulled pretty sharply away from this resistance point. But from the 4-hour perspective, they were actually buying at the 4-hour 20 moving average. And an interesting thing that did occur, although it is a little challenging to see it within this perspective, if you draw a line between one of the recent highs from our big push after we got a slight pullback, this high is about 332.83. The low of last Friday's candle, is about 332.92. And if you look at the pre-market action, it actually got a couple of cents lower, about 20 cents lower. So what we ended up doing Friday is filling a very small portion of a gap that we had left as we continued to gap up day after day. And this can be a pretty strong signal intraday. That gap fill led into a trend day that really didn't have much of a pullback from this higher time frame perspective. As soon as that gap was filled, we sort of back tested the high of a previous daily candle, and then we were off to the races, which is a very strong sign after them rejecting this resistance zone. So things are still looking good here, but the range is starting to tighten. As we get up here, we're going to see how they once again consolidate into the potential for a breakout, or ultimately we'll start to see some rollover rejection if they cannot break out at this time. And then I guess from the RSI perspective, we did get a bit overbought here. Once again, a signal that this might not be the best place to go long for the expectation of amazingly higher prices, like let's say an all-time high breakout. The conditions here were not ideal for that and in need of a pullback before potentially going higher. You typically don't want to buy into overbought conditions unless you're expecting an even more overbought situation. And obviously the risk or reward will have to be defined for that to be an acceptable trade. And then looking at our 1 hour, we see that, similar to the SPY, we've moved away from our main value zone of about 313.50. The VA range, we're well above. We've trended through and even left price action that filled upside gaps. You can see how quickly we can fill a gap on momentum. And this is typically why you don't want to go against gap fills. They're very likely to fill when they are being filled. We found support at this daily gap high, and then we pushed into that resistance zone. So similar to the SPY, the market is putting in shelves of value. Looks like around 335 is of interest. And then we also have this price level here. I would say, without digging into it too much more, maybe 332.50. There are some small gaps in between. So these are some relative price levels that if we hold and go higher, we would expect sort of that extension range breakout expectation of doubling the range. If we fall through, we have support zones to work with, but once again, bulls do not wish to lose some of these new shells of value. They actually want to stay here and build something similar to what they did here, indicating that yes, the QQQs have a new value zone, and this value zone exists at 332, 335, whatever it happens to be. That would be best case scenario for the bulls. And then finally, let's look at our IWM. We will go to our weekly. We will look at the 20, 50, and 200. I will take off some of these lines to clear up some of the perspective. And I'll leave just the main trend lines. I'll also go ahead and bring up the RSI. And let's see what we're seeing from the weekly perspective. So similar to the Qs, the RSI, the IWM has not made a new all-time high, while the SPY and things like the Dow, which we looked at a bit last week, those two have made new all-time highs. The RSI from the weekly perspective is showing a little bit of consolidation at these extended levels, but we have not seen another overbought signal as of yet. We've actually seen, I would say, multiple back tests and then the eventual breakthrough of the 70 level. So as the IWM consolidates here, it has been, I would say, a little bit more challenging to find a general directionality for it. We've seen up days, we've seen down days, but unlike the Qs and the SPY, we have not seen a move from value. And therefore, we have not seen trend days to the upside, especially in the perspective of multiple trend days, which everyone's aware of how strong it has been in those sectors. So with IWM, our thesis sort of remains the same. If we're stuck at 220, and we'll see what that means from the value perspective and the volume profile, if we're stuck at 220, it is going to be interesting to find what direction the market will take. You would expect that with a strong SPY and a strong Qs, that maybe the IWM would just follow suit. But the fact that it hasn't means that if the SPY and if the Qs were to have a sharp pullback, what is going to happen here? Is it that money will rotate into the small caps as sort of a take away from the leaders and put into the laggard? Or will everything correlate? And this is one of our weakest areas so far, basically just sitting at value. Will this actually move from value to the downside? Now that would be a similar idea as we had with the SPY, where that move away from value led to multiple trend days. But if it's to the downside, obviously that would be a pretty strong push, a lot of bearish selling days here. And obviously we would need the market to continue to have that sharp pullback for that to be facilitated. So in my opinion, this has been a relatively hard market to track and analyze just because we're at value. There's not a lot of directional momentum. And what you're doing is just playing a move down from value has been bought up and brought back. A move away from value has been pushed down and brought back. So you play that sort of low to high, higher low perspective until we get some more clear signals. And obviously, we're sitting between the 20 and 50. The daily chart's not helping us out much. This could easily be a cross occurring fairly soon. And the last time we had that cross, looks like around here, we were actually already selling off. So we were a bit extended in the past with high RSI readings. That pulled back a bit sharper to the 200. And we really haven't had a cross in a long time since COVID lows. So we will just kind of keep that in mind. Very, I would say, non-directional 4-hour chart. we can see this huge pennant, this wedge that has formed. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it just showcases that the range in here is starting to tighten. We've had big drops from the highs. We've had buy-ups from the lows. And right now, past couple of sessions, hasn't really done too much. If we look at our 1 hour, we can see that as it's doing this pennant pattern and as it's consolidating, we are stuck at VPOC. You know, once again, I say 220, it may be moving slightly higher over time as I'm losing some subsequent days. I could maybe bring up a 3-month to see, yeah, it's still sitting around 222. So it looks like value is around 222. But ultimately, we are stuck at the highest value point in this product, and that can be very challenging to find direction. Now, all that said, I've drawn out this pennant as a representation that markets typically will get to a certain compression point. There will be sort of a breaking of that compression at some point. And the longer you compress, whether it be with up and down consolidation or at sort of an oscillation into a tightening range, the longer you do this, typically the larger the move once you do break out. So while we are looking for SPY and Qs at these overextended levels to potentially pull back, this may be an area of interest in the next day or two if we can get that move away from value. Ultimately, it's been very challenging to do it, so we may not see that, and it may be, once again, a false breakout, false breakdown, but there's opportunity here as we get a range compression. We can define our risk much more tightly in knowing that if certain levels break against us, then obviously our thesis falls apart, and we can use this structure in the days to come to kind of see if we're getting more clear signals. So that is where we stand in regards to our 3 main index products. Layering in that RSI is sort of a next phase in looking at some different indicators. We have seen markets become extended in the past, and I wanted to bring up those historical examples just in the past year to show not only can markets do this, but they can do it for much longer than most people would expect. And if you're someone who is starting to build a short position in this market, knowing that this may not last forever, you obviously have some examples of what could happen if we get extended based on this one indicator, and what sort of your reward potential could look like. If we were to get overblown, parabolic, you know, we could have multiple days to the downside. If we get to a point where we simply consolidate and this starts to taper off, you've defined your risk to the upside, and through that consolidation, you may choose to lower risk, or if that consolidation breaks even higher, obviously take off the trade altogether. But as we sit here at resistance, as we look across a few areas that are also coming into notable resistance zones, we want to obviously play both sides. When we want to get long, we want to get long in the right spot. When we want to get short, we want to get short in the right spot. And then our expectations need to be based on some sort of historical and obviously a technical perspective, not just that gut feeling of markets are extended. What does that mean? You know, how do you quantify that and actually make criteria into the future for this trade to be something that you can repeat? So with that said, that's my time this morning. I wanted to say happy Monday to everybody. We're going to start digging into some of our sector analysis starting tomorrow, and really starting to see what sectors have been carrying us these past couple of weeks, and where are the opportunities lying if we were to get that pullback, along with which sectors maybe have not moved yet and are still offering some good potential in the case of a breakout or breakdown. So with that said, my name's Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Y'all have a great trading session today, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Thanks.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great weekend. Apologies for the delay, guys. I am having some screen issues on my end, which I looks like we might have just resolved. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, buddy. You're not streaming to the room.
Okay, let's double check. Yeah, there's some tech issues on my side, guys. Let me just confirm here what's happening
YouTube
with
looks all right.
the room.
There you
Let's
go.
see. Okay, perfect.
Speaking
All
of
right.
YouTube, hit those likes for Jared.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Um, Okay, perfect. Yeah, something strange is happening, but I don't want to restart my computer. That would take forever. So let's just keep rolling the way we have it now. All right, guys, welcome to the start of another trading week. Let's see what we have here on the list this morning. We got quite a bit in the green, not so much in the red, and the red is really taken over by a lot of the POS stocks. If you can see here, the POS sector is really taking a hit this morning. So we'll see what's going on there. We have some other ones like Plug and Baidu also on the list. So again, the gapping down is looking rather interesting. I ran through some of these that are gapping up this morning. Not a lot that looks great in there, but we'll get into that in details. Norm, what's the latest and greatest on the SPY? And I'm going to stay on this screen because we are having some issues with every other screen that I have on my
Jared,
list here.
Jared did a great job of breaking it down this morning where we sit in the market. SPY has, broken all-time highs and continues to go higher. It appears to be a little bit extended based on a few different criteria, but that doesn't mean that it can't keep going for a little bit. But some kind of little pullback wouldn't be unexpected at this point. We do have earnings. This is earnings week. Started earnings season on Wednesday with the banks coming in before market open Wednesday morning. You've got a couple of them, and that'll continue. And we'll get deeper and deeper into that. As far as economic data today, not a ton. You know what? I think I put the wrong thing. There's nothing substantial today. What I actually have on that sheet is incorrect. So disregard that. And you don't even have the sheet up.
Yeah,
So
I don't have it up, so worked out.
no significant data. We got earnings coming up. We'll see how it goes.
All right, excellent. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's remove some of the stuff we had here from last week, and let's bring in our fresh rows, and we'll see what we have on our gappers list this morning, starting with the gap up list today. WHLM, 3 million shares float. This one is up 55% this morning, giving back a little bit. It was as high as 13. Now down to 15. So definitely in play for a low flow stock. I think has great volume. Let's see how this is going to turn out a little bit later.
There was disclosure, I guess, late last week or on Friday that somebody else had taken a pretty significant position in this. It is a very small company, very small market cap, very weird business. It is a model representative business, fashion models. So I don't know that this is not something that I would consider easy to handle risk on. I probably won't keep my eye on this. It is in play. Who knows what'll happen? I don't have shares for short.
Yeah, same here with IB. Nuon. This was actually
you might as well move on. It's halted. It's
right.
It's a buyout. So.
And you can see here, guys, in the montage, if you're using Dash Trader Pro, you can see trading halted and due to news pending. So that nothing happening there. PLBI, this one's a 10 million shares flow. Doesn't really have a whole lot of volume, guys. Only 152,000 shares traded, and that is usually not great for something like this. Their daily, though, does look a little bit clean here. With not a whole lot of volume. So just concerned on how the activity is going to be when the market opens on something like this. We can keep it on here just in case it gets more volume. But again, 152, that's not looking good.
Yeah, not great. This is Playboy. They're trying to reinvent themselves with NFTs, I guess.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
NFT nudies.
Yeah, NFT nudies. And the fungus continues. Let's see here. LMNX. This one, guys, it looks like a buyout. Just popped up here, up 11%. Not much going on right now. 862,000 shares traded. But again, this pre-market action doesn't look tradable. It doesn't look good at the moment. So we'll skip on down. Here's
buyout.
It's a buyout. Okay, yeah.
Cash.
So cash. All right. So not much is going to be moving there, guys. Usually a buyout that's
Should have
cash.
stayed in bed this morning, Carlos.
I'm telling you, I looked through it this morning and it was not great at all. So Here we have Baba. Baba's popping up pretty good now here, 6.1. 1.5 million. Now, again, they have a nice little pop here. They've been struggling for some time over the last couple of weeks. That could be interesting, especially if you like trading Baba. Big news for them.
Catalyst in play. They got the largest fine in history, antitrust, which is kind of ironic in China. 2.8 billion dollars fine.
Wow.
Antitrust. Yeah. But popping 6% on being fined nearly $3 billion because that's good compared to what some people feared was coming for some of these.
Oh, okay, right. So it's better than what they were expecting per se, type thing. So got it. All right, that makes sense. So here's again up 6.1 this morning, 1.5 million. They're definitely in play this morning. So we'll keep an eye on them. Here's ATNF, 9.1 million shares float. Not looking good at all, guys. Volume 113,000. That's not going to cut it for that type of float. That's flow size. So heading down to Mara, the Bitcoin is see a couple of
Bitcoin's up.
Here.
Bitcoin got over 61 grand this morning.
Guys, Mara, typical stuff with Mara. I mean, it gets the volume. It looks good in the pre-market, but just the price action on this is different. It moves very different. And we tried last week to keep this on watch and do a couple of trades on it. Again, the price action is just a little bit wild. Not wild. It's just not fluid. Not fluid is probably the best way to describe it. We'll keep an eye on it here. Here's Riot. Riot is also in play, guys. I'm going to keep Mara on deck for the most part. Uber is up nicely, 3.3 this morning, 343,000 shares traded. So some good news for Uber this morning, Norm?
Uber came out, reported March traffic numbers, and it was the most in the company's history. So between their food delivery and their transportation businesses, the transportation business is picking back up. So really just some good numbers coming out showing the reopening occurring and such, and they're being rewarded for it this morning. That having been said, as we've discussed many times, Uber can tend to not be the best intraday trading stock. I love the company. I like the stock. I've had it for quite some time, from the 20s. But, so I'm happy, but I won't be trading it myself. That doesn't mean other people can't. I know every once in a while people find some good trades. But just keep an eye on it, because it can be choppy and weird. If it's not having a good day, don't get stubborn and just focus on it.
Yeah, I cannot agree with you more on that. Next, we have PLTR, guys. This one up 3%, 1.1 million shares traded at the moment. The pre-market action is starting to look decent. Again, typical PLTR stuff. It could be a love and hate type stock here. We'll see. I do like the daily though. The daily looks like it's getting some kind of support down here. Maybe we can break out. We broke out of 24. That was a good area. That previous day closed a little bit above 20, or right at 24 actually. Breaking out of that, so that could be interesting. Do we have some legs to run up here on the PLTR? So we'll have to see. Pre-market's got some great volume like they always do, but again, doesn't mean they're going to trade well. We've seen that many times over and over again, and it's just horrible when the market opens. CAN, another Bitcoin play here. I'm going to keep Mara. CAN could be a good possible. I traded it many times before in the past, in the last 2 weeks, and that was great here. We had some good runs, but we'll see. We'll see what comes out of that. Let's see what's gapping down to the IRTC this morning. This one is down at 32%, 109,000 shares traded. Pre-market action is not looking all that good right now. I do like the drop of 32%. I always like these big drops like this. You can get into a real nice run here. Now, what I do not like, guys, look at how wide these prices are, 91 all the way down to 89 in a matter of minutes here. The spread is brutal at 50 cents plus there. So you just got to be very careful. I don't know how clean this thing is going to trade. And if you look at the daily, it's not great. And if you look at the volume, it's even worse, right? The volume here, the highest I see here in the last couple of weeks is 1.2 million. Right, so you're not getting great volume. So that means the spread is wide. It's not moving with a lot of liquidity. So you got to be careful with this one. Maybe on a risky pile.
No,
not even there.
That's free. No, look at go down to level 2 and look at how sparse everything is. You've got on the downside, you've got 88.40. Like you said, you've got a big spread. It's bumping around. The spread is now $1.97.
Yeah,
and then
$1.97 right there.
If you go down this ladder, you find 88.60. You've got some shares up 86. Then you drop down to 86.32. This is a no touchy.
Yeah, this is I like that. This is a no touchy, absolutely. And again, guys, we know that it can get better at the market open, but I don't think it's gonna get that much better because their history does not show that it does. Right on here, we're not seeing that. So yeah, let's run away from that.
Get that garbage off your screen.
That's right. If we had, could we have a garbage emoji we could hit? That would be nice. A garbage emoji there. TTM. Nice. This one here, guys. Ooh, no, this is brutal. It looks a foreign.
Ooh. It's not good. Yeah, this is Tata India cars. I wouldn't no.
Yeah, skip down here.
This just goes with the foreign stuff and the weird dailies and everything else. I'd run from that one as well.
Yeah, no good. There it is. A burning.
There we go.
Dumpster there. Very nice.
I like the one Hugo put up here with the automatic.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I actually saw that happen once.
No way.
It was a recycle deal. Somebody put their recycled thing out. I happened to be driving past. It's kind of out in the country on the way to the range, and the truck flung it so hard the glass flew over the truck into the street.
Unbelievable. For those on YouTube, that is what we're looking at there. This is our chat room, by the way, and the blackout screen will be what we're streaming, whatever any moderator is streaming. We also have scanners there as well, so we'll see. Maybe this week again we'll do another. We'll stay on live depending how the likes go. And Norm, you can run that part of there. Norm will let us know. Guys, APHA, we have a couple of pot stocks in here this morning. This one is very active, 850, down 7.7. I'm just going to look at all of them. TLRY, also very active, down 6%, 1 million. And I thought we had some more on here. But these two running right now pretty nice. I'm going to add them both. Norm, what's the latest on our pot area this morning?
I don't know. I got stoned and forgot to look.
TLRY, we'll make some room over here. All right, so we have both of these on here, guys. Both great volume, down nicely this morning. Definitely worth taking a second look at. I don't see the rest. What are the rest of them? Used to be this one.
APHA missed earnings.
Oh, okay.
What's their earnings?
When did they have earnings? APHA.
I haven't. I gotcha.
Oh,
I appreciate it. Thank you. I had not today. I had not caught it. I didn't see that one listed on my stuff, so I appreciate it.
So it looks like they had earnings this morning pre-market, and TLRY did not, but they're getting slammed as well by it. So whatever happened with APHA was not good.
APHA is getting smoked on terrible earnings.
Yeah. So definitely both of these are in play, guys.
Thank you.
Yep. Both of these are in play. Again, APHA is the one with the catalyst, but TLRY still looks very good, guys. So I'm going to keep both of them on here. All right, PSAC, this one no good. We'll skip quickly. CLOV also not looking great. Let's head on down. Plug should be a good one, but they're not looking that great today. We see some good trading out of Plug, but maybe a possible. Maybe there's some opportunities for it to get a little better. GSX, no, we've seen this before. This has been no good. And Fuel Cell. Right now, I know someone's going to throw this out there because they love trading this stock. We'll add it on here. We'll see if it gets better later down the line. Norm, anything you like this morning? I know there's not a lot to choose from so far.
No.
All right. Let's head on down here over to our chat room. So let's start with, who do we have here? Let's scroll up. Let's start with Ron, let's start. Oh no, you're just saying nice, like nice and as in nice, not the stock. Bill, let's start with you. Ears is up 18% this morning, 5.5 million shares traded, so quite a bit on there. They're daily, not great though. So I'm just concerned how they're going to be trading today. What is their float? Let's look at Ears. They are a 10.8 a million shares float. So a little bit on the lower side. I think they are in play today. They got great volume. So let's add them down here in our risky pile. We can come back to that one. Heading on down, we do have NIX, KNIX. Okay. That is not coming up on my end, so I'll skip it for now. Just check that ticker. NEO, yeah, I don't think NEO is in play. The volume is not there. And they're just kind of pretty much flat right now. So I don't see anything good on NEO at the moment. Let's take a look at Riot. Well, actually, we looked at Riot already, I believe, right? Did we?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we did. Did we add it on there? I mean, they're up here, 6.5. Yeah, they could be interesting. They could be interesting. Let's put Riot there as well. We already have Mara up here also. We did look at CAN, which is another good one as well. They're all in play this morning, all up real good. Let's see what happens. Baidu, we did not look at Baidu this morning. They were actually in the gappers list on the Baidu. Hold up. There we go. All right, Baidu today also down 1.6, excuse me, 207. Yeah, I think they're in play. I don't like Baidu. I cannot trade it very well. I'll add it as a possible. We will take a look at it. But that's one of the stocks that's just on my no-no list because I just can't trade it well at all. Tesla, what's happening with Tesla? They're up 1.6. We
seen upgrade this morning.
Yeah. Oh, they did nice. We've seen better from them though. But again, upgrade news is always good. That can create some good movement for us there, especially on a company like Tesla, which is already heavily traded. It's got a very good fan base. Apple, let's take a look at Apple this morning. They're active. They're moving around here a bit. Again, they had a couple of really good days. I think Apple's one you can watch every day throughout the next coming weeks, right? As we have been also, we've always been having either on our main list or secondary, or at least one that we check if the market is moving in one direction heavily, because again, Apple can move very well with that. So again, possible continuation here. Jared talked a little bit about this. Do we have the strength to keep going here? Again, they've been trading very, very well. We were stuck in such a mess and now finally breaking down nicely here. So, yeah, Apple is a good one to watch today. BCTX. What is this one? They gapped up pretty nice this morning, already down to 2% only, 406. Pre-market action is active. Their daily's okay. We've seen this one before. I just can't recall how it trades. So I'm not sure about this one, guys. What is the flow on this, by the way? BCTX. We look low flow. All right, so we'll put it down here. Yeah, it doesn't look great for a low flow though, I gotta say. All right, heading down, we do have LHDX. No, I don't like the way this is. It's up 12%, but the volume is not there for this right now. So I'm going to skip on this one. Also, their daily is a little bit funky. They don't get a whole lot of volume as well. Very light there with some very big movements. That's scary stuff, right? You're moving this much, 36 down, 35 down to 28 with only 740,000 shares traded. That cannot be good.
Their average daily volume is 533,000 shares.
Yeah, so it's just not good, guys. Yeah, run from that. I can only imagine what that spread and what that price action is going to look like. I already looked at Nuon, so that wasn't looking great. We left that off. FBIO, this one here. What do we have? We're up 6% this morning, 682. Pre-market is a little bit all over the place. What's the float on this bad boy with FBIO? This one is sitting at 65, so not a low flow stock. Had a couple of really good days in here. Let's just check how it has been traded because I have not looked at this one. All right, so this is Friday. All right, Friday got a nice little pop and drop here. Could be okay. Could be okay. It's not great though. So I'm going to put it as a possible. It could be all right. Heading on down, United. How's the travel sector doing this morning? United, this one, that's pretty much flat. It's not much going on. The volume is not great. Let's look at American Airlines just in case. Yeah, not much happening here neither. CCL's got a little bit of volume there, but again, I do not think they're in play. I think this is one that, I know the rest of the ones we just looked at in the travel area, that we just kind of wait for them to hit the scanners. I'm not seeing anything that puts them in play this morning. Tesla, we looked at. We do have PLTR. We do have APHA as well on here. They're all very, very active. Is no one getting any better? Because I see a lot of you guys throwing this one out. Let's go back to it.
Buyout.
Oh, that's the buyout. Yeah, so this is not good, guys. All right, so yeah, so this is buyout. So that's not good.
Halted. You can't even trade it.
Yeah, you can't even trade it. So we're not going to look at that. WLM, this one, no, that's not coming up as a ticker. IRTC, yeah, we took this one off, guys. Again, just the spread, the volume you're getting here is scary. So we're not going to mess with this one. We looked at this one earlier. The spread was as much as $1.90 just earlier. It's getting better, but still, it's not looking too good, and just concerning with that, the way the volume is going to be on that. All right, so let's stop here in our chat. I see, oh, Microsoft, we'll do that one last, and then we'll go over to YouTube, see what we have there. Microsoft this morning, they've been so strong the last couple of weeks, guys. Look at this, just breaking out nicely. Very similar to what Apple is doing. Again, some of these tech companies is really good
They
tech
just kind of been
companies.
sitting still for months, and now they're starting to move again.
It's starting to move very, very well, especially the big ones, right? Microsoft, Apple, as you can see here. So right now, I don't think they're specifically in play, but they've been fun to watch, guys. So if you like Microsoft, definitely put it on your list. It's been incredibly strong the last couple of weeks on there. Let's take a look over on our YouTube chat. Let's start with Serge. You're giving us ZMTL. ZM. Oh, no, you corrected it. ZNTL. Let's take a look here. Just no volume, only 35,000 shares traded in this daily. See, this is a bad daily here, right? Look how every candle is overlapping the previous candle. The volume in the since the beginning of the year, under 1 million shares traded, right? The most we had was 1 million shares here. So I don't expect this to get any better unless it's some crazy, crazy catalyst that will allow us to trade this nicely. Workhorse, no volume, guys. So we want to see something above 100,000. Or a daily that looks so great that we must keep it on watch, or something with a big catalyst that we can expect something moving. But if not, for example, this one's 7,000. Yes, the daily looks interesting, possible breakout, little light on the volume, but again, not active for this morning. Apple could explode today. We fully agree with that. Yeah, Apple could explode today. I think that's a good one. APHA, guys, looking good. We do have that one. Fubo, man, Fubo was just wild the last couple of weeks here. Today, they're not doing a whole lot, though. They're pretty quiet right now. They do have 252. They're down 1.1, but again, we had a huge, nice drop here. We had it on our list here. We had it on Friday, but again, I didn't trade Friday, so we'll see. We'll see what it does, but not in play at the moment. All right, I think we covered both sides of the field there. Let's head over to announcement. Today is Mindful Monday, so we'll have Dr. Katz on right after these announcements with Norm.
All right, quick weekly rundown. Brian, swing trade discussion 2:30 on Mondays, but we have actually been blessed by his presence more often than that recently with lockdowns, and I hear they're locking down in Canada again. I don't know in British Columbia, but the more Brian we can get, we'll take. Then we've got onboarding tech classes Monday nights, 8 p.m. live with Carlos, Mike, Kyle. See you there. If you are doing the intro membership, you can be a part of that. Then Tuesday, Thursday, you've got trade reviews with Eamon in the classroom at noon, success webinars at 8 p.m. Wednesday, psychology webinars at 8 p.m. And Thursday, aka Thursday, Thor's group mentorship he does each Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. All right, guys. Speaking of Thor, tomorrow night, part 3 of his Pivot Point series, 8 p.m. tomorrow night. And then next week, we've got Peter, and I believe Andrew might hop in here to discuss a little bit about actively trading a single ticker. We all know that he doesn't trade only one. Sometimes we joke about it because he trades AMD so much, and he has a tattoo on it on his lower back of their logo. But Peter will be doing that webinar next week at 8 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. Then we've got Mike Wednesday this week, 8 p.m., talking about reestablishing a positive mindset after a losing streak. And our mindfulness coach, Nato, will be talking next Wednesday at 8 p.m. about how true are your stories about yourself, evaluating your judgment, and so forth. Samer, I have spent much time with Peter. And that is not Peter. In that picture. So, member trade of the day. If you want to take part in this, take a screenshot of your best trades with entries and exits. Mark it up. Put any commentary you can describing the trade. Post it on Twitter, tagging at Bearable Traders, at Mike B_BBT, and at NormBBT. Also use hashtags BBT Family, Day Trading, Stock Market. We will pick the winner for each day and announce on Twitter. And then all the trades of the day are up for trade of the week, which we vote on. The team does over the weekend, and we'll announce on Monday on Twitter. And if y'all on YouTube, could see the pictures of people putting up of Peter with tattoos on his head, on his lower back. I won't use the word for that. There you go. I think Carlos put that up. It's greatness, man. And then go back to the, there you go. Oh, I'm dying this morning. That's just greatness. How much did AMD pay you to advertise on your face? All right. Can you throw the announcement back up, Carlos, for that last page? That's awesome. All right. If you're watching on YouTube and you want to be part of the madness, you can try it out for a week at a discount. Use the promo code PREMARKET24. It'll get you access to the onboarding class and 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the chat. Doesn't auto-renew or turn into any other kind of membership. We also have our spring promo going on. You can get 40% off of an annual elite membership. Just use the promo code SPRING40. Dr. Katz, how are you, sir? Good morning.
Good morning, Norm. How are you today?
I'm good. First and foremost, did you get any of the crazy hail or anything that we had?
We avoided that, so that was good. All we had was neighbors whose parents were away, so he had a nice big party from 11:30 to 4:30 a.m., so that kept me up, but no hail.
You have teenagers destroying your property instead of balls of ice. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you catch up on your sleep soon.
Yeah, I did.
All right, so we chatted over the weekend. We're going to talk. We've got Mike's webinar, psychology webinar coming up, is about reestablishing your mindset after a losing streak. So we, for the next 2 weeks, are going to be talking with you in this segment about regaining emotional control after a losing streak. And first, you wanted to start out with talking about, are you really in a losing streak and emotions in that? So take it away, sir.
Yeah, so, emotional recovery from losing streaks in trading is a big topic. And it, one of the most dreaded moments, I think, in trading is really finding yourself in the middle of a losing streak, which is really kind of posting a consecutive string of losses. This is, I think, especially troubling for inexperienced and newer traders. But trading, being a game of possibilities and probabilities, inevitably leads to a time for the most experienced trader where they find themselves in a losing streak. And often the troubling part is hardly ever the streak itself, but really the way traders handle and react to the situation. So I thought I would go over initially a few steps that I think it's really helpful for traders to assess. And the first one is, the question is, are you really in a losing streak? And this first step is critical in many cases because the traders are not really in an actual losing streak. If you're not, and the problem may go much deeper. Really, a losing streak only exists when you 100% religiously follow your rules and adhere to the trading plan and basically do everything correctly, and then still end up with multiple losses. If, on the other hand, you break your rules, you don't follow a plan, and you're all over the place, and then you lose, we really can't call that a losing streak. Really, that outcome is due to being sloppy and undisciplined. So it is truly a losing streak. That's the question. Is it truly a losing streak, or are you acting somewhat unprofessionally and don't, have a strategy? The second step is if you recognize you are lacking rules and don't have structure approach, you need to establish one. That's the first step. Rules will make sure your trading has more consistency. And really only then can you truly interpret your results and see where the problems are. The third step is really judge the losing streak correctly. Once established that it is a losing streak, you need to put it in perspective so that you don't kind of, freak out and that you remain calm. Talk yourself down. Six losses in the row, it may feel like the end of the world in the moment, but really 2 wins, follow that by 2 wins, and, you can be positive. So you really need to just, judge things kind of with some perspective. And the next step is, the question is, do you need to win right now? This may sound strange, but especially for newer traders in the first maybe 12 to 18 months that you're trading, your focus really shouldn't be on your trading performance and your overall P&L returns, but you really need to work on yourself. The whole line, don't try to run before you could walk, is really appropriate, because you really need to ease up and focus on yourself. Build a structured approach, and not all of your energy should focus on winning and P&L, even though that in the moment, that's what makes you feel better. The last step, I think, in this process is really learning from the adversity. Losing streaks can offer really great insights into your trading approach, and you want to look for similarities between now and previous streaks. And if you're able to identify commonalities, that's going to be enormously helpful in moving forward. So take this overall more macro picture, first of all, in assessing your own losing streaks. And then next week, I'll get into some specific tips for, if it's truly a losing streak, how you can get yourself out of it and manage it more effectively.
Awesome. Looking forward to it, Dr. Katz. Have a wonderful week.
Okay, you too, Norm. Take it easy.
You too.
All right, guys, that is just dynamite information there from Dr. Katz. Let's give him a big thumbs up for joining us this morning and sharing that information. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's look at our watch list today. So we have on deck Baba starting there. I think this is really in play, is up nicely this morning. Their daily looks interesting as well, so that's good. Mara is looking decent. We got to bring this down because we got quite a bit on here. Mara looks good, so we'll keep that on there. Again, it's just, can we get a good price action? This might be, I might move this down to a possible instead of keeping it up here. Uber is decent. It might be a possible for me depending how things go here. POTR, we have APHA, we have TLRY. Okay, both looking very similar. I'm gonna keep TLRY on top because I'm sorry, APHA on top, because they're the one with the actual catalyst, right? So I hopefully they can move better. TLTR I'm going to move down to Apostle because they also look very good this morning. Tesla is okay. Apple is a good one. I think Apple looks really good. I think they look better than Tesla right now, so I'm going to move Tesla down as well because we got to bring this list down to a more manageable number. So we'll bring Tesla down. We have Baba. Mara is good. Uber could be, depends, could be a hit or miss there. A PLTR 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, that's good enough for now. So we have 6 on our secondary list. We have Tesla, TLRY. FBIO is okay. Ride is I don't think I'm gonna keep both of these, Ride and CAN, so I'm gonna remove them. They don't really look that great right now. CAN could be okay, but it doesn't look good. Let's get rid of it. Plug. You know what? Plug could be nice if we could start losing some of these levels, right? They've been in a nice downtrend since the beginning of the year. They had this huge pop they could not hold, and then a lot of these stuff been just coming down a bit here. They're just slamming at this area of support. That could be interesting. Fuel cell, you know, as much as I like it, it's okay. Baidu is decent as well. All right, so we got a good possibles list also and a decent watch list for this morning. Let's start with Baba. Again, not a stock that I like to trade quite often, but today they have a good catalyst behind them. They have a nice pop of 6.3 and great volume, so definitely in play this morning. High of the pre-market 239.90. It's actually a little bit higher than this, all the way up here. Early this morning, 239.90, and that's actually, if you look at the daily, look at the gray area of resistance that is since March. March banged up his head here a couple of times, was not able to get above this, and you can see here the struggle it was having. Above that, this daily is not great. Baba doesn't have an amazing daily, but you do see some pockets here like this one right on here, 250, 57, great area of some resistance and support, so that's good. We can slam that on a level on there as well. Towards the bottom, we do have a couple of days in here, not great, 245.70, so I'm going to throw a level there also on the Baba towards the top. Now towards the bottom again, guys, not a great day. Look how choppy this is, but in here you do have places where it has traded very, very well. I see some really good, amazing trades. I'm going to put 233.49. I got a couple of days opening and closing right in that area. So if you zoom in here, right? You got this day opening here, closing here, opening there, closing there. So a couple of hits on that. But that looks very clean as far as the wicks. I don't see the wicks that look very clean, but this year I do like that. There's a couple of days hitting that 233.49 level, pretty nice. And then below that, you do have the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Let's head over to Mara this morning. They are up 5.7. High. Did this one already? No, we didn't. High of the pre-market sitting at 53.87. Above that, you do have a nice little pop here to 57.47. So we'll mark that down there as well. And then towards the bottom, I'm going to mark the low of the pre-market at 50.84. And then below that, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, plus the previous day close listed there as well. So you're pretty much taking care there. Here's Uber. Uber, again, could be a tough stock to trade. They are up nicely this morning. They are in play. It's just, can we get a good intraday trading? And for the most part, even with a catalyst, we haven't seen that from Uber in the past. So 60.47 high of the pre-market, 61.02. It's another level here off the daily. Look at the high of the pre-market there at 60.47. You got a couple of touches there as well on these days here. Towards the bottom of the price action, we do have 58.99, and then below that, the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. Even in the pre-market action now, you are seeing that 58.99 get a little bit of some touches on there, right to the penny. So that's a good level to have on your list. Here's PLTR. I mean, this stock is just hit or miss at times. 48.80 high of the pre-market. Above that, we do have 25.64, and then slightly above that, we do have 27. So again, guys, we've seen this stock so many times, and it can be so choppy. If you get stopped out once or twice, just avoid it. It can be just in a chop and not trading very well at all. The low of the pre-market all the way down at 24.14. You can throw a level there as well, and then below that, you're pretty much surrounded by the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days, so you're pretty good there. APHA has had earnings early this morning, pre-market. They are getting slammed today. They are down 8% this morning. Low of the pre-market 14.39. Below that, we do have a level right on here on this wick. Looks like 13.84. And lower than that, we do have right on here, guys, nice level at 12.81. Just in case this thing does decide to slam lower, we are ready towards the top. I don't think you need to add anything. You have the last 2 trading days, highs and lows, previous day close as well. That is pretty much taking care of your levels towards the top there. Here's Apple. Apple has been just incredible, guys, and not just on the daily. If you look into these intraday trades here, it's just been so clean, so much volume. It's been really fun to trade and watch. 132.06 high, low of the pre-market. The high of the pre-market pretty much at 132.99, which is your previous day close. So slamming right on there. It closed really strong on Friday. Let's see. We're getting a little bit of a pullback here, which is pretty much nothing, right? 0.3. Let's see if we have the legs to push higher this morning. Above, are we sitting? No, we're not sitting at all-time highs. Above this, we do have right on here. We do have a level 135.96. What else? We have anything? That's actually pretty clean. Got a couple of days opening, closing right on that 135.96. Could be probably 36 to be exact. And then above that, you have all the way up here 138. Again, I don't think we'll make that move in one shot here, but look at the move Friday. It will not shock me if we can get going today, this morning, at least to that 135 level. All right, that is what we have. Let's take a look at our moderators lineup this morning. Let's bring that in. All right, we have a couple of folks in here already with their list. Let's bring it over from over here. Okay, that looks good. And let me resize this so I can slide it over. Come on, be nice. There we go. All right, resize it and bring this on down. There we go. You should be able to see it now. The moderators line up here, and starting with who do we have? Peter. So some fun IPO scheduled for later this week. None for today. Thor is looking at Fubo, Baba, Levi, and Tesla this morning. Some of his comments there and what he likes on each and every one of those. Dima, she is looking at Riot, PLTR, Uber, and Apple. Very similar to what I have as well. John, let's go back up for John. John is looking at Baba and Tesla. Tiffany likes Baba, PLTR, secondary list Uber, APHA, and also Tesla. Peter likes APHA, PLTR, Uber, Mara as a secondary, including Baba and AMD. And Mike, break of high scanners as well as Baba, Facebook, and SQ this morning. Eamon likes Bank of America, Fuel Cell, IBM, secondary list. He's looking at Plug, Mara, and MA. Andrew, Baba, APHA, PLTR, that can be choppy, especially the first 10 to 15 minutes. So yeah, guys, so true. You got to be very, very careful. I mean, this stock could be, it's love and hate. It could trade so well. The few times we did not put it on our watch list last week, if you look at the daily, traded the intraday, traded amazing. So just got to be patient with it. Lower flow stock, WHLM, we do have that one on there. That one is up 70% this morning, guys. 3 million shares traded so far. Jared is looking at Tesla, Baba, TRY, and APHA, both weak on earnings from APHA this morning. And he's looking at the energy sector as well. Brian, with his list, Plug, Riot, Baba, Apple, Microsoft, and also low flow stock, WHLM, this morning on his list. So, all right, pretty good watch list this morning, guys, to start off the week. And I think that's it. We're pretty much covered. Tonight, guys, we have our onboarding class. For those on YouTube that have not checked us out yet, we do have an onboarding class. You can join with the pre-market 24 code that Norm gave you earlier at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you join for that. And then right after that, you can also get access to the tech class from Kyle. So you get, 2 for 1 there. Definitely do not miss out. Check it out. And then you're going to have access for the entire week in our chat room and see what the environment's like and see if there's something that, fits your style of trading, what you're looking to do. So, and we will definitely show you more pictures of Peter and his tattoo. So you get access to that as well. We just showed you 2, but we have a lot more from Peter in the stash that we can show out throughout the week. So guys, take care. Have an amazing Monday to start off this trading week. We will see you guys tonight. Those on YouTube and those in the chat room. Brian and Andrew are up next, and they're going to take you through their watch list and what they like this morning for the market. Take care, guys. Stay safe, and we'll see you, those on YouTube, tomorrow or tonight.